What's up, everybody? Nate Sarantino here, back with another episode of the Guided Spirits podcast. And today's episode is going to be on why you have to stop lying to yourself. So, for real, this is something I really struggled with for a very long time. And it's coming from the mind of someone who was addicted to nicotine severely from, I started vaping at 13, and then by the end of my 8th grade year, I was smoking cigarette butts off the ground. And I didn't believe I was addicted to nicotine until 16 years old. And then finally I was like, maybe I have a problem. And then at this point, I was addicted to weed, alcohol, and obviously vaping and nicotine in the form of it, and it was so bad. I could not stop lying to myself about being not addicted. And this is one of the number one things and number one reasons that any addict is struggling to quit, is because they refuse to admit they have a problem. And you will never actually be able to help yourself until you have this admittance into whatever it is. So, say you have a problem with overspending on credit cards. Oh, well, if you don't think you have a problem, then you're just going to keep doing what you're doing. And I made this mistake as well. And boom, what happened? I put myself in probably $5,000 worth of credit card debt. And it sucked, and I paid it off, and then I put myself in more credit card debt again, and now I'm paying it off again. And it's just one of those things where, you can only make the same mistake so many times until, A, it kills you, or B, you learn your mistake. And thank God I learned my mistake this time around with the credit cards. But it's one of those things, especially for addicts, if you believe you don't have a problem and then you go back to using a substance, you get clean from even tobacco, for instance, nicotine. A lot of addicts, I don't know the exact percentage, but many addicts, who quit end up getting back on. And approximately 90% of the individuals who try to quit smoking ultimately resume smoking at some point down the line. And I'm going to be honest, I completely quit vaping. I will not vape anymore. But I'll smoke tobacco here and there under extreme circumstances. When it comes to a spiritual practice, when I believe I am in a state of mind to inhale the ancestors' spirits. That's why I believe American spirits are called American spirits, because the Native Americans, or the indigenous people of the Americas, would inhale and smoke tobacco in their spiritual practices in reference to in the significance to inhaling their ancestors and channeling their energy. And I do the same thing when I am channeling people like Thoth the Atlantean, Priest King, Yeshua, a.k.a. Jesus Christ, or whoever else I'm trying to channel at the very moment in time. So, what does this mean? Well, I'll tell you what this means. You have to stop lying to yourself, and you have to understand that everything you do is a choice, and that the most powerful word you ever have in your vocabulary is no. When you think you want to do something, you have to be able to tell yourself no. And this means if you want to go use your phone and you say, no, I don't have a problem with using my phone, I can scroll on TikTok for a little bit and I can hop off right away, and boom, an hour's gone by and you wasted an hour of your life doing what? Nothing important. That's what you did. So, what am I saying? You have to tell yourself no. When you see yourself doing something that you shouldn't be doing, you have to learn how to tell yourself no. And the first step to learning how to do this is to stop lying to yourself. If you think you have a problem in any way, shape, or form, you definitely do. And most importantly, even if you don't think you do, you probably still do. The chances you don't have some kind of substance abuse issue or some kind of addiction, some kind of underlying mental health or physical health problem that stems from you lying to yourself are slim to none. And that is why I decided to make this podcast, because I know so many people who are struggling with this very thing I'm talking about. And I struggled with it for almost my entire life. And I still am on the verge of really, my financial situation has been very tricky for the last 5 years. And every day, I continuously tell myself I'm going to make it through, and I'm going to stay positive, and I work through it, and I budget my money the best I can, make sure I'm eating organically, not eating a bunch of chemicals, make sure all the food that I get is the purest of pure, while I also manage to pay down my credit card debt. I manage to work as hard as I can every day that I'm here, because at the end of the day, you don't know when you're going to die, but what you do know is how hard you worked and what you actually worked towards. What were you putting that hard work into? Why did you tell yourself to do something? And when did you tell yourself not to do something? You have a choice every day, A or B. And if you pick A, you might go left. If you pick B, you might go right. Well, the goal is to go left and right and then continue straight down your path. You want to find the destination, and then you want to find the quickest route there. But at the same time, you want to gain experience, and you want to be able to live a life. Because life is a journey. In every shape and form, you are on a journey. And in this journey, the only way to reach your destination is through the truth. And that's what is Christ consciousness. It's to live by the truth at the highest degree. That's where you enter a state of mind of righteousness. Like, if you actually want to become a better person and you actually want to help yourself, you have to follow the truth, and this means you gotta stop lying to yourself. And if you're lying to yourself still, as we enter this golden age, the age of Aquarius in 2025, you have one more year, and I mean it, you have one more year to actually get your life together. And if you don't, 2025 is going to be a year where you either excel and you grow rapidly, or you decelerate and you decline rapidly. And people are going to split. Everything's about to split. We got the middle class turning into the lower and upper class. We're getting rid of that. They're squeezing it out of us. And then you have the two main parties where you have a capitalistic society and a Marxist society, and these are starting to split, and you're starting to see where everything's headed. And you have had the infiltration in the United States of America from our Marxist regime, and this is all coming out of communist China. Basically, we are deciding our fate. How do we want humanity to go? Do we want to go up or down? Do we want to be led by the few, or do we want the people to lead the people? It's basically making a choice of how do you want to live your life. Do you want life on earth to be living hell or living heaven? Heaven is a state of mind, and hell is a state of mind. This all comes from lying to yourself. Religions have been lying to you, and you have been formed to believe the things you believe to keep you under control. If you think too much, you become dangerous. And the number one way to free your mind is to stop lying to yourself, to seek the truth. And when you seek the truth will find you. And when the truth finds you, you'll realize who you are, who you're meant to be, and why you are doing the things that you do. With that being said, stop lying to yourself and let the best version of yourself be free. Thank you for listening, and this was the Guided Spirits Podcast.